Good Wednesday evening to you, and it's Sandra Shields, your practitioner on duty tonight. And it's a time for our metaphysical lesson. And what I wanted to talk to you about tonight is about the law of attraction, but more than that, your mental atmosphere and what that has to do with attracting into your life those experiences that you would like to experience. On Sunday, we talked about the power of love, we talked about the power of friendship, and the best way to get more friends is to be a friend and to love other people. And I was really thinking about that in terms of maintaining a good mental atmosphere. And certainly, during the last year, with all of the difficulties that have gone on, it's been sometimes hard to maintain that positive attitude. And I know that sometimes we feel weary. I know this week I talked to one of my federal mental health partners, and she was talking, and the two of us were talking about what it's like to be on disaster assignment for a year, and how does one keep your composure and keep your stamina and to remain positive. So those were sort of the things that inspired me in terms of this lesson. So your mental atmosphere and attracting friends and attracting positive things. I turned, as I always do, I go to my bookshelf and sort of look to see what pops out as inspiration. And this time I came across the book again, Help for Today, by Ernest Holmes and William Hornaday. And they wrote some very practical things about how to apply the science of mind. And so I came across a reading here that I would like to talk to you about. It's in a chapter called Chapter 6, Bless and Curse Not. And they start by saying, do you remember the old Chinese proverb that it's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness? How true this ancient adage is. For where a candle is lighted, there can be no darkness. Most of us have experienced occasions due to electrical power outages or failures that suddenly the lights would go out. Unsure of ourselves, we groped and stumbled in the darkness until a candle or lamp was lit so we could find our way. In a similar way, this example can be applied to the problems of our daily living. When there are dark clouds of uncertainty, how very much we would like to light the candle that would cause the difficulty to vanish as it does the darkness in the presence of light. So further on in this chapter, they give an example of how to work with this in terms of mental atmosphere. And it comes about, this example comes about by, it was either Dr. Hornaday or Dr. Holmes who was called in by a agent of this very famous actor, and of course they don't say who it is, who demonstrated this law of mental atmosphere so well that they put it in this book. So to illustrate the law in action, both negatively and affirmatively, we can consider the behavior of a man who was having great difficulty in his relationships with other people. He was an actor, and again, they don't say which one, a good one, but in constant conflict with his associates, his agents, producers, directors, the cast, other people that worked with him, all readily admitted that he possessed genuine talent and a rare ability, but his undisciplined temperament was not conducive to harmony. Let's pause about that a minute. Not conducive to harmony. Harmony. What in our mental atmosphere is not conducive to harmony? Let's think about that right here and now, personally. Producers would often accept a star of lesser talent in order to relieve themselves of the tension, irritation, and argument which was always prevalent when this person was cast. So the cause in this actor's manner lay deep within himself, a truth of which he seemed to be completely unaware. In his opinion, it was always others who were doing wrong. And sometimes when we're trying to correct our mental atmosphere, we go to who else is to blame. And it's hard to look within ourselves and how we're creating that situation and what it is we have to do ourselves in our attitude to correct this. So the agent called and told me the story and asked for my help. Fortunately, the actor was willing to discuss the situation, for deeply within himself he was unhappy. And a lot of times when it comes to mental atmosphere, not only do we cause suffering for those around us, but we're deeply suffering ourselves because we're not getting the feedback, the positive feedback that we're so wanting. So we went and talked together, and it was apparent that somewhere in his life he had acquired a sense of rejection, which produced hostility. His whole reaction to people, which included those who admired him and wanted to help him, was one of self-defense, as though he were trying to satisfy a deep-seated revenge. After unsuccessfully endeavoring to show him that the cause of his mental attitude was one of obstructing harmonious relationships with others, I then explained the law of creative spirit to him. Back of all human relations and creativity, there is one life, one power, one love, one creative spirit, one God. I further explained that everyone with whom he was associated with also was deeply rooted in the same life, that if he could recognize, feel, and respond to this one life in others, the life in others would respond to him in like manner. So he finally began to realize that through honest self-analysis, and really when you're talking about our mental atmosphere, honest self-analysis is really what we need to do, that he was actually cursing his environment. He was separating himself out from his associates through silently and openly criticizing and condemning everything they said and did. Yes, we can go even deeper and further and say that his habit of condemnation was so completely in domination that he would condemn and criticize others unconsciously. He admitted that he did not want to do this. He did not want this negative behavior pattern to continue. He knew that if he was ever to achieve the success to which his talent entitled him, the whole process of use of his creative law had to be reversed. But how do I do this, he said? By no longer cursing the darkness, and by you yourself lighting a candle of understanding that will cause others to know that you are a changed man. Through your every attitude, word, and action, prove to yourself that you are using the creative law of spirit for good. Being an actor, he was able to dramatize his new role in life, and because of his deep sincerity and conscientiousness, he faithfully began the task of reversing his negative mental attitudes. Silently and consistently, he blessed everyone with whom he was working, his agent, his producers, his directors, his cameramen, the electricians, as well as the extras with whom he had previously ignored. At first, this was exceedingly difficult to do because his negative thoughts processes were so deeply entrenched, but he did not give up, and he persisted. Shortly thereafter, it appeared as if a miracle had taken place in his life, as it always does when we consciously direct the law of creative spirit for our good, the good of others, and unify ourselves harmoniously with life. As he blessed and praised others, they automatically reciprocated. It was not long before the very ones who had been antagonistic towards him were doing everything within their power to help him. Today, he is one of our finest actors, genuinely respected and sincerely loved. And may that be said of all of us, genuinely respected and sincerely loved. There are two ways to look at this example in the change in his behavior. One is to believe that it all happened by chance. That the other is to believe that the transformation took place in according with certain fundamental laws with which people are using, rightly or wrongly, at all times. The second way, of course, we believe is to be the right way, because everything in life is governed by the law, which the tides of the ocean, by everything, day events in your life and mine, for nothing happens by chance. In a certain sense, we are always either blessing or cursing everything around us, including ourselves. So if you were here with me, and then I'm asking you to do this at home, we would certainly have a discussion about mental atmosphere and what your ideas are in terms of what you've been doing to continue to keep yourself positive, to keep affirming the good every day. And, we would talk about things like setting your intention for the day. Instead of going into something saying, oh, I think this is going to be the worst meeting I've ever had, to really bless and taking a few moments ahead of time to bless everybody that you're working with, everybody who's in that meeting, in order to have a fulfilling and uplifting conversation that's highest and best for everyone, no harm to anyone. All of those things, setting that mental attitude, making sure that your atmosphere is free and clear, that you're affirming the positive every day, will certainly help to continue to create that positive atmosphere. It's done unto you as you believe, and always believing in that good, not only within yourself, but that same good in everyone around you, will help call to you those experiences of positive affirmation, of positive action that you would like to receive and reflect and have in your life every day. So I thank you very much for your time and attention, and so ends our lesson.